Printer can print up to 10 lines per second.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
This printer can print up to 10 lines per second. This printer can print up to 10 lines per second.
Okay, welcome to Lesson 1, Variables. The first order of business here is to make sure you have Atom, our text editor. It looks like this if you go to the website. A way to find it is Google Atom Editor, and you should get this page. Download the software. I've already got it installed, so I don't need to download it. And the icon looks like this. And I have a page here, a file that I've already started. And what I want you to do is go ahead and copy this. This is basic HTML with a tiny bit of JavaScript in between this. This is called a script tag. Anything with this less than or greater than are called tags. Inside this script tag is some basic JavaScript. Go ahead and copy that down. You don't need to copy this gray stuff after the 2 forward slashes. Those are my notes. So go ahead and copy that and we'll get started. Okay, so you've copied this down and save it as anything you want. I'm calling mine variables.html. The .html is very important. That tells your computer that you want to use a web browser to open the document. And here's the document right here. So let me double click that. And you can see it opens Chrome because that's my default browser. And by the way, if you want your code and your output to look exactly like mine, then using Chrome is a good idea. So if you need to, pause this and download Chrome for your browser. But having said that, it doesn't matter that much. It just looks a little different. Okay, not much. Okay, so we open this file we created in Atom, and it looks like this. Let me go over a couple pieces here. We have something called title in our HTML. That's this right here. We have an H1 tag that says variables, capital V. That's this right here. That's a header tag. And then we have the actual name of the file, variables.html. And that is here. Okay? In the title, I put title :variables because I wanted you to see that that is different than the H1 tag and the name of the file. Okay, so let's go down to our JavaScript. We have var x equals 6, let y equals 56.3, and const name equals Jim, and console log x. Okay, so there's 3 ways to declare variables. We use var, let, or const. Var is pretty much obsolete. We don't use it anymore. You will see it in old code. You'll see it if you open a book on JavaScript, a little older book, you'll see var, but we don't use it anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of it. We only use let and const. Okay, so let me quickly go over the difference between let and const. It's very simple. But I need to use this console log, which is our output, in order to demonstrate. So we have let y equal 56.3. I'm going to console log y. I save that and I reload. This is the reload button up here. I reload here. Now, nothing changed, or at least it looks like nothing changed. And that is because we don't have our console log open yet. The way we open it is we go up to View, Developer, JavaScript Console. And if you're using a different browser, it'll look a little different. I think in some browsers you have to go up to Window and open it that way. So that's why it's a good idea to use Chrome if you can. So you'll notice when I open the console log, I've got this line here at the top, and it said, let me make this a little bigger so that you can see. Come on. There we go. I just want you to be able to see this as console right here. So you can see there's a line here. It says 56.3, and that was our Y value. And then it says variable.html, that is our file name. And then it says 19. That is the line in the code that created this output. So you can see in our code, line 19, console log Y. Okay, so that's console log. All right, so back to the difference between let and constant. Let's go down here below constant. So I have let y equals 56.3. I'm going to change the value of y. Y equals 7. Save that. Go over here and reload. 7. You can see that it changed here in our console log. Now, console log is not part of your web page. It's just a little feature or tool to allow you to debug your code. It's actually very powerful and very useful. But we don't really use it. It's not part of the web page. It's just a tool. Okay, so I changed the value of y, and you saw what happened. Now I'm going to change the value of name. So name equals Sid. And let's console log name. Save that and reload. And there's an error. The error says uncaught type error, and it tells you the line where the error happened, line 21. And then here's a description of the error, assignment to constant variable. So what it's saying is you can't reassign a value to a constant. Okay, it has to stay with its original value, which is Jim. Okay, and let's see 21. Where's 21? Here. This is where I tried to change the value of name, and it wouldn't allow me to do that. So that's the difference between constant and let. You can change the value of a let variable, but you cannot change the value of a constant variable, hence the name constant. Okay, so that's that. Before I forget, it would be a good idea if you practice more HTML and something called CSS, which is the style and look of your web page. We'll do some CSS later. And go to W3 Schools. I'll put the name up there. That's a very good place for beginner. And I just lost my monitor, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is recording. So that's a very good place to study the basics of HTML and CSS. Okay, because I'm not going to be doing a lot of that. I'm concentrating on JavaScript. Okay, so let me just start, get rid of that stuff and start clean here. I'm going to say let S equal Jim again. This is in quotes, Jim is in quotes. That's called a string encoding. It stands for a string of characters. Okay, we can also do this. We can also say let T equal single quote and that is a string as well. It's just in single quotes. So strings can be in double quotes or single quotes. Okay. Now, a new type is something called a Boolean. Let B equal true. Okay, so notice a couple things here. One is true is not in quotes. It's not a string. It's an actual value. And notice it's yellow too, or kind of orangish. That's kind of to tell you it's a different type. The string is in green and the Boolean is in orange. A Boolean can only have the value of true or false. It cannot have any other values. So let's go ahead and console log B. And there's true. And I can change that to false. Save that. Let's console log. Let's see what that produces. False. Okay. That's going to be very useful later. Right now, you may look at it and go, what's that for? But it's going to be useful in later programs. It helps us make decisions. Okay. Now let's go over naming a little bit. Let's get rid of these two. So, right, I have let S equal Jim. Well, I can, this name, which S currently can be a long string. My string equals Jim. So I have a lowercase and uppercase mixed. Okay, so that's a valid string. I can have my string 2 equal Jim. I can't do this though. I can't put a number in front of the name. See how it already turns red? It's telling me I can't use that as a name. I can do underscore in front though. That's valid. Okay. So here are some naming conventions. Here are two naming conventions you'll see a lot. You saw my string. This is called Camel Case, where the second word is uppercase, starts uppercase, and if I put a third word in there, that would start uppercase. So it starts lowercase, and each additional word starts uppercase. That's called Camel Case. It's not necessary to do that. Some coders like to do this. My underscore string. You'll see this a lot too. All right, you'll see both conventions. I prefer the camel case as opposed to the underscore. It's just preference, no big deal. One other thing, let's get rid of that. Let's change this back to X. And let's just create a number here, 56. All right, I'm going to show you some math operations. So we have let X equals 56. Let's get rid of some of this empty space. By the way, JavaScript ignores empty space. It doesn't care how much empty space you put in there. And it also obviously ignores my notes here, my comments. So let's console log X. So there's 56. Now I can do something like this. I could say something like let Y equal X plus 3. Let's console log Y. Save that, reload. So it does addition basically. Okay, so I can do that all day long. The operations are plus, minus, multiply, and divide. And they look like this. Let's go ahead. So that's the star is multiplication. See that? 168. And the dash is subtraction. and the divide is the /. Okay? So that is it for lesson 1 variables. Keep in mind these lessons are going to get more and more and more interesting because the more tools you have to write code, the more fun it becomes and the more interesting it becomes. The next lesson is called Conditionals. And conditionals are a way for us to make decisions in code. Very powerful. Join me in lesson 2, Conditionals. See you then.